What do you got there?
Well, just kind of nervous, and I spent a lot of time on this, so if you just give me my time. Dear Sam, your addiction to streaming quality and non-quality independent films has had the following effects on my life. First, your influence has led me to stream more and go to the movies less. I find that I have more money lying around and I don't know what to do with it, making me feel anxious and without purpose. Subsequently, I've lost 10 pounds due to the recent reduction in my popcorn intake. I know that I can microwave popcorn, it's just not the same. Second, I finally now have an argument for when people claim that there are no good movies being made anymore. It makes me feel smart, and I don't like that because I'm not used to winning in social debates. I have an image to maintain. Thirdly, I too have become... Are you going to interrupt me at any point?
You want me to...
Just give me one more second. I'm not done. Thirdly, I too have become addicted to streaming independent movies, causing an adverse growth in my intelligence, which I am not entirely comfortable with. This is kind of an amalgamation of my first 2 points, but it felt weird only having 2 points, so I wrote a third point. Love, your brother, Lee.
Gee, I don't really know what to say about that.
I really care.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That was sweet.
That's it. That's all you gotta say is thank you. I literally I invaded your privacy without you knowing, so that I could write that.
I don't feel invaded in any way. Honestly,
that was the point. You're not supposed to feel it.
What you were saying.
You're supposed to feel my words. You know what? This is never gonna work. So I'm just. I need air. I need so much air.
I'm definitely going to tweet about that.
Hey guys, welcome to The Film With No Name, a show that talks about independent movies that you may not have seen or even heard of, but you can stream right now. On today's episode, we'll be discussing a dramedy called The Intervention, released by Samuel Goldwyn Films and currently streaming on Amazon Prime. Let's get intervened!
This is your family's little summer house? What are you, like a secret Kennedy or something?
My friends!
Hello.
How are you?
I think we should do it tonight.
We shouldn't even be doing this in the first place.
There's no way they could be that bad.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this all week long.
It's done, okay?
Hey! Ready to rumble.
Pass me the ball, Peter.
Good catch it. I'd
I
pass
want
you
to
the
play
ball.
too, so pass me the ball.
This marriage intervention is long overdue.
It sounds even more insane when you say it out loud.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
I don't think having some baby stranger around is appropriate.
Was Titanic out yet?
When she was born? No. But I've explained it to her and she knows how it ends.
We haven't got your save the date card yet.
Trust me, take your time.
You can feel it, the burden of their marital prison.
Peter, did you cook the chicken? It's really salty, you guys. I'm very sorry.
For Christ's sake, maybe you just have an overly sensitive palate.
Maybe.
I had an abnormal pap smear. Thank you. I'm sweating so much.
They think you two should get divorced.
Can I do anything? She threw peaches at me.
Did it feel exciting to get attention from some cute young girl? Yes.
I'm sorry.
What if we can't get back to where we were?
Making your way in the world today.
Takes everything you got.
Yep.
Every single word's another lie. You were waiting on our goodbye.
Not to brag, but I was MVP on the kickball team at my detention center.
should not brag about that.
That was The Intervention. A weekend getaway for 4 couples takes a sharp turn when one of the couples discovers the entire trip was orchestrated to host an intervention on their marriage.
The film, The Intervention, was written and directed by Clea Duvall, who also stars in the film. That's pretty incredible, especially considering the film. The cast goes on and on. We got Kobe Smulders. You might know her from How I Met Your Mother, The Avengers, yada, yada, yada. Jason Ritter, Freddy vs. Jason, was...
Which, ironically, he wasn't the Jason in that movie.
That's his real name.
Okay.
And then, let's see, Natasha Lyonne. You've seen her in a ton of movies.
We also have Ben Schwartz from Parks and Rec, and How to Be a Latin Lover. Little known fact, I didn't know this, doing some research, he was the voice consultant for BB-8 on The Force Awakens. So we have Aaliyah Shawkat from Arrested Development and Green Room, and Vincent Piazza from Boardwalk Empire, and then finally, the star of this movie really is Melanie Linsky. You might know her from a movie on Netflix called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. She was also in The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and one of the things I didn't know, which I should have known, but I didn't recognize her, is way back in the day, because we're such horror fans, we're huge Peter Jackson fans, she starred along Kate Winslet, and it was both their first movies in Heavenly Creatures.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
which, if you haven't seen Heavenly Creatures, check it out. That is a trip of a movie. Melanie Linsky is absolutely fantastic in this movie.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, the whole cast is fantastic, but she really stands out to me as, like, why don't we see her in way more movies?
Right.
I mean, she's in a ton of movies, but she's always character parts.
Yeah,
she needs more
really
leads,
cool to see her
she's
as a lead.
really... The same with I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. You gotta check it out. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that one, no.
She's the lead in that, along with Elijah Wood, who was in The Faculty with Clea Duvall.
So, I mean, just like the connections. I thought the true star of this film was the script.
Yeah.
Clea Duvall's script. She also stars in the film and directs it, but the true star of this film is the script. It's pretty much impeccable. I nerd out sometimes when I'm watching a movie that I really, really like, and when an event happens, I'll pause it to see where it is in the timeline. And sure, I mean, every real, like, a story pushing event happens just right on the, like, literally to a T.
Yeah.
The moments where it should happen.
But at the same time, because I'll do the same thing, but certain movies, those moments stand out. And in this one, they were very subtle moments.
They were.
Some of them.
They
so
were.
it was like, it was a very clever way of moving the script forward and hitting the story points, but not knocking you over the head.
This is kind of a coming-of-age drama with a lot of humor and comedy.
A different kind of later coming of age.
Yeah, exactly.
A coming of middle age.
About coming into middle age, yeah, absolutely. But I think there's like a trend in a lot of, like, especially like the big Oscar winners, that, obviously it's got to have some element of coming of age, usually some kind of social thing, but the vibe is like of a meandering thing, and I get that because like life is meandering.
Yeah,
it kind of makes it feel like a slice of life. But I really liked how this didn't have to have any of that. And it still felt very real.
Yeah, all
characters and their plights, their dramas are 100% relatable to anybody.
To anybody.
So
I was nervous going into review this movie because, as some of you may know, Sam and I make horror movies. Boxleitner Brothers YouTube.com.
Check it out.
The link will be down below. But anyway, I was nervous going in, and when because I'm used to talking about horror movies all the time. And this, knowing it was a drama / comedy, I was hesitant. And the first couple minutes, it took me a second to warm up to this movie.
This movie had me hooked within the first sequence.
Yeah,
the opening shot, and Melanie she's the first person we meet.
Jason Ritter.
Jason Ritter, but it's really all about her. That little sequence where there's basically no dialogue, it's one person kind of talking in whispered and hushed tones.
They do a very clever moment there where they reveal a big part of her character.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the
scene.
setup. I mean, this is, like, literally would have been maybe a half a page.
Yeah.
And you know exactly who this woman is and what her problem is.
Yeah.
So clearly. I mean, it was so excellently written.
I think the cinematographer, Polly Morgan, did a really good job with this movie. This movie, I couldn't tell. I knew it was low budget because of what it was. I mean, it's not a huge... It's definitely a small indie movie, but this cinematographer, I'm not sure what the budget was, made it look like a $50 million movie.
They had a thing with symmetry. There was major set shots that were very kind of Kubrickian, you know, in its symmetry. And I found that when our characters were in these shots, they were always kind of dancing in and out. They were pushed over
to one side.
Well, they were always like
this way.
Well, not always though. Not always. They especially in the beginning and first half, they're kind of dancing in and out of the symmetry. But then, and what's ironic is that everything looks so symmetrical, but the characters are not symmetrical at all. And then when things start going downhill, all of a sudden the symmetry's thrown off, and they're, like you said, pushed all over to the side, and then on the other side of the coverage they're over to this side, and it's just, I thought that was a really
it's
cool
like an
touch.
Interesting way of separating the actors' coverage without separating the actors themselves.
They could be sitting right next to each other like you and I are right now, but it made them feel
totally separate,
miles apart.
Away. Clea Duvall did this brilliantly. She immediately makes you go, okay, I know that person. I know what their problem is. I know who they are. And then throughout the movie, you're like, wait.
Yeah.
These are completely different people than I judged them immediately. Yeah. And it's in the writing and in the direction. This person clearly knows that they're going to manipulate the audience into thinking one thing about this character. Like the Ben Schwartz character, which we will get into in our spoiler cast. The way he starts off, you're just, you know, it gives you a bad taste in your mouth. You know people like that, especially where we live, like in Hollywood. There's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah,
he's a floater.
Yeah,
and not a douchebag, but he's kind of got a douchebaggery element to him at first, where you're like, okay, I know exactly who you are, and then throughout the movie, like, he becomes one of your favorite characters, and you end up relating with him and feeling sorry for him, and it's just so well written.
Every beat that I want in a movie was there.
Yeah, and I just love it because it was a movie that, had we not been doing this show, we never would have seen this movie. And it's really thanks to you guys. Like, we get recommended these movies and we watch them, and this was such a treat to watch. So please, guys, comment down below. Send us more recommendations. We can't wait to watch. If you know a movie that you think not a lot of people have seen, but they have to see it, like this, I'm going to tell everyone about this movie.
Yeah, I am too. I think that's kind of what we're doing right now. So I guess, like, if we're going to score this, let's score it. For me, there was one little thing, and it was such a minor nitpick. We'll get into that in the spoiler cast. But overall, I would say this is like a 9.8.5.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how much I like this movie.
That's about right. I'd say because there were moments where I was like, okay, when's this person going to die? But then they didn't die because it's not a horror movie. I'm going to give it a 9.8.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate excuse, right? Like, I feel like if the filmmakers saw this, they would be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that concludes this week's episode featuring The Intervention, which you can catch on Amazon Prime. Don't forget to check out The Film With No Name on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, we love keeping independent cinema alive, and we hope that you do too. So if you have a recommendation, let us know in the comment section. And join us in a couple days for our spoiler cast of The Intervention. See you then.